Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Thursday, January the 5th, 2023. I was going to say 2022, so used to saying that. We've been looking at the first couple chapters of Matthew. Last week we focused on the birth of Jesus as described for us in the Gospel of Luke. Then we've turned to Matthew, and this is going to kind of bring us up to the reading in the narrative lectionary for this coming Sunday, Jesus' baptism by John the Baptist in Matthew 3. So Monday we looked at the genealogy in Matthew 1, 1 to 17. Yesterday we looked at the angel appearing to Joseph and in Matthew 1, 18 to 25. And now we're into chapter 2, and this actually was the reading for this past Sunday. It is also the Epiphany reading, which actually Epiphany is tomorrow, so we were a week ahead on Sunday and a day ahead today. But if you would like to read, it's Matthew 2 verses 1 through 12. It's the well-known story of the three wise men or magi. A couple of things to note. It says in the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. In talking about Luke, we said that Herod died probably around 4 BCE, whereas the Quirinius didn't become the governor until 6, before the Common Era, or 6 CE. So there's a 10-year gap there. So that's one thing. The second thing, when you read Matthew 2, 1 through 12, it says that when the wise men arrived in Bethlehem, on entering the house, it says they saw the child with Mary, his mother. So obviously, this is some time after Jesus's birth, and the sort of initial accommodations in the guest room, probably of Joseph's house or close relative, and down in the area where they would stable the animals at night and in bad weather. This is probably sometime after that. We're going to talk about when exactly this was, either tomorrow or on Saturday. But suffice it to say, the wise men did not come while that night that Jesus was born. Came sometime later. We'll talk about that. Paul Meyer was a professor of history at Western Michigan. He wrote a book that my parents got from me many years ago called The First Christmas. And he talks about what we have in our reading this morning. We think of the three wise men. The song "We Three Kings of Orient Are." The tradition was that there were three of them, that they came from the Orient. The fact of the matter is they weren't kings. They didn't come from the Orient. They probably came from Persia. They were of a class of intellectuals. They were called magi. This is where our word magician comes from. And they were, of course, among the many things that the magi were known for was their knowledge of the stars and the sky and so forth. And so they were led by, of course, the star to Bethlehem, and it's one of the most memorable things in the story. And scholars have puzzled over what the Star of Bethlehem really was. Some have speculated that it was a planetary conjunction, because every 800 years the planets Jupiter and Saturn come into this unique conjunction that Mars joins them, and it just so happens that we know that this happened in about February of 6 BCE. It's also a possibility that it was a comet, because the Greek term for star can mean any kind of heavenly body, including comets, meteors, novas, planets. So some speculate that it might have been a comet. And in fact, the Chinese had a lot, very exact and complete astronomical records. And using those, in 1871, a man by the name of John Williams published his authoritative list of comets, and comet number 52 on his list appeared for some 70 days in March or to April of 5 BCE, which again would fit this time frame. This could have been the thing that attracted the wise men's attention, but also their that marker that they followed. It also could have been a nova. A nova is not really a new star, but one that kind of bursts with increased brilliance. And apparently there was a comet number 53 that fits the definition of a nova that followed comet number 52 that we just talked about, that appeared in March or April, March to April of 4 BC. And so this was this was again probably possibly what the Magi followed. So according to Meyer, here's a possible reconstruction of what happened that first Christmas. The conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in 7 to 6 BCE alerted the Magi to these developments in Palestine. The comet of 5 BCE, Williams number 52, underscored this and set them on their way, while it was the nova or comet of 4 BCE, Williams number 53, which appeared after they had reached Jerusalem and were seeking that further information from Herod. So the star went before them, of course, as we're told, till it came to rest over the place. And it's entirely possible that, as Meyer notes, that as people travel, stars do seem to move with them or before them, stopping when they stop. So it reached its zenith in the skies over Bethlehem. It might have seemed like a sign to the Magi that they had reached their destination. I guess all of this is just to say that it's more than the Christmas story, although there's so many gaps, so many things we don't completely understand. But just as Luke kind of grounds it in history of historical figures like Quirinius and Caesar, and Matthew talks about Herod and about the star, which there's scientific possible explanations for, it's kind of rooted in reality. And when you think about the fact that Matthew and Luke were written decades, some perhaps as many as 50, 60 years after the events took place, it's remarkable that there's such good detail and reliable detail, in this case even scientific detail. So tomorrow we're going to continue, because Herod, of course, wants to worship them, or so he says, and we're going to see what that was all about. Until then, take care. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.